This video will be about sharing an inspiring story from Reddit, one that highlights the power of faith and the miraculous ways it can impact our lives. It's a journey filled with hope, prayer, and unexpected miracles, all driven by a belief that God's love and grace are always at work. There was once a woman who faced a challenge that seemed impossible, one that tested her faith and left her questioning everything. She was pregnant with her first child, and while most women are filled with excitement during their pregnancy, she found herself grappling with fear. At her 20-week ultrasound, the doctors told her something that took her breath away. They said that her baby had a blockage in her bladder and might need a kidney transplant once born. She could hardly wrap her mind around it. Her baby was still so small, so innocent, yet already faced with something so frightening. Who believe the Bills will win the Super Bowl this year? I do. Continuing with the story. The news weighed heavily on her. The doctors were concerned, and they wanted to prepare her for the worst. But what this woman did next wasn't driven by fear. It was driven by something much stronger, her faith. Gareth Haskell Dinmos. She had recently found her way back to God, having begun attending church and getting involved in the community there. Even though her heart was heavy, she chose to trust in a power greater than her own. Every night she prayed for her unborn daughter, prayed for a miracle, prayed for strength. She wasn't alone. Her family and church family stood with her, joining their voices together to lift her up, filling her home with prayers. They all believed together. With each prayer, hope began to push out the fear. The day her daughter was born, they immediately rushed the baby to the children's hospital. The weight of uncertainty felt unbearable, but then the doctor came in with the most miraculous news. "I don't know what happened," he said, "but your daughter only has an ovarian cyst and is already beginning to shrink. Her kidneys are perfect. She's perfectly healthy." It was a miracle. It didn't make sense, but she didn't question it. All she could do was thank God because her baby girl had defied all odds. But that wasn't the end of the story. Her sister, who hadn't yet found faith in Jesus, was soon put to the test in the most unexpected way. Her newborn baby suddenly stopped breathing. The doctors and nurses walked frantically as the seconds seemed to stretch into an eternity. In those desperate moments, her sister did something she had never thought she would do. In her anguish and fear, she dropped to her knees and prayed. She cried out, asking Jesus to save her child. It was in that very instant that a nurse rushed over and whispered the most incredible news. The baby was breathing. She was okay. It was a turning point for her sister. Um, what had seemed impossible became her testimony too. She realized that prayer had saved her baby's life, and her faith grew in a way that no one, not even she, could have predicted. These two women, sisters bound by blood, but now also united in faith, learned that day that God's power doesn't follow our timelines or expectations. It's there when we trust, when we believe. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. Together, they celebrated the health of their children. The lesson was clear: prayer has power, and God's love moves in ways we can't always understand, but is always real, always there when we need it most. They understood deeply that faith can ripple through lives, touching those we love in ways that change the course of our futures. And that's how, through prayers of faith and hope, two families found their miracles. And that's a wrap on today's story. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more inspiring stories. Your support means the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.